All right, we're gonna go ahead and start enrolling master EFINs for your service bureau. This should only be done when enrollment is open for the upcoming tax season. If you're watching this and it's not typically October to December, then don't wait until October to December to do this. So what we're gonna do is in TaxSlayer, when you're logged into your account hub, that'll be your tax office management URL. When you're logged in as your service bureau, you're going to go to the 9 dots. You're going to go to my account. Now, you may have these red items here. You kind of have to do these in order. So if you see complete and verified company information, just click on that. Go down to the very bottom. This should all already be filled out for you. And all you have to do for any bank app, if you ever run into an issue where it's saying must verify company info, all you have to do is sign your name here, whatever your name is. You could save it, or in this case, I'm just going to go and continue to bank app. And now that'll take us right here to the bank applications. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go through both of them, but I'm going to start with Refund Advantage. So I had already started this. Yours might say begin application, but I needed to fill in a bunch of data. So say you're starting your application. Put in your information, bank name on your bank account, checking, routing, and account number. This is where your service bureau fees are going to be deposited. So make sure you put in a proper account number here. For this information on the office setup, since this is your service bureau, I mean, you could put your social or tax ID. It's up to you. Name it whatever your service bureau is. For experience, it really doesn't matter. This is just for your service bureau. So you can just put whatever you want here. One principal in the office, one office staff, that's fine. You do need a security question because you're going to need this to be able to create a login or log in the first time. So mother's maiden name, go to the bottom, sign it, click save and continue. Immediately it's going to take you to section 2. Now we are using our dummy master, so this is for a service bureau. So as a service bureau, you don't really need to offer card disbursements. You don't need to offer check disbursements. A service bureau is not doing tax returns. You don't even need to offer pre-ax because, again, you're not doing tax returns. As far as the location, you can put whatever you want, storefront, residential, up to you. Now, here is something that is really important. And this goes for all Refund Advantage bank apps. Always, always, always select sole proprietor. Even if you have an LLC, a partnership, corp, always, always, always select sole proprietor. Now, the reason why is because if you go and select LLC, they're going to ask you for extra documents to prove that you have an LLC. If you put corporation, they're going to ask you for extra documents to prove you have a corporation. If you do sole proprietor, that's just less stuff you have to give them. So again, up to you, but I recommend for all your bank enrollments with Refund Advantage, whether it's for your service bureau, your tax office, just do sole prop. It really doesn't matter. Is this even shared? No. Again, these questions don't really matter for a service bureau because you're not doing returns, so it doesn't matter. You're not offering advances. Type of office, service bureau. If you are a new service bureau, just put none. If you are existing, you could just put the same bank, Refund Advantage. And then for the bank refuse to renew, just put no. And then click continue. When you continue, it's going to take you to the fees. Now, as a service bureau, since you're not doing returns, this EFIN doesn't do any returns, so you don't even need to put any fees here. It doesn't matter. It's not doing returns. You're going to put the fees you want to collect onto the application of your customer. Your service bureau is not doing returns, so you can just leave this as no, 0, continue. Oh, you got to sign. So whatever you're signing at, continue. And then your information, if it's blank here, if you click this little this blue button here next to EFIN owner, it'll just load in all your information. There may be a couple, you'll have to put in your driver's license number. So put your actual ID and address that's on your ID here. Continue to the next one. If you want to copy over the information from the other one, again, click this little blue. And then it'll just ask you to fill out, I think, just this one question that you own 100%. Great. And then continue. Same thing for control person. You're probably going to need to click on this little blue paste button to copy from the owner. And should let you continue. You may need to type in the title. So you can just put owner, member, whatever you want to put. And then once you're done with that, you can lock and submit the application. I'm not going to do it here because then it's going to send it over to Refund Advantage. But what I'm going to do is once you submit it, about 24 hours later, you should get an email that looks something like this. That says, hey, congratulations, your application for your dummy master has been approved. What you need to do, if you are a brand new service bureau, you need to make a login for this EFIN. You need to make a login for your dummy master on the Refund Advantage website. If you used Refund Advantage as a service bureau last year, you should already have a login to it. So basically, you're going to go over to the Refund Advantage website. Again, if you are a new service bureau, you've never set up a login for your service bureau. Now, you could have a login for your tax office that's separate, but your service bureau is going to need a Refund Advantage login as well. So if this is your first time enrolling with Refund Advantage with your dummy master EFIN, then go into Refund Advantage and you're going to make a new user. It's going to ask you for your EFIN. So you're going to put in your EFIN, whatever your dummy master is. And it's going to ask you for your social security number. So your entire social security number. And you're going to hit continue. It's going to actually ask you to put in like the mother's maiden name or whatever security question you asked. Obviously, this data doesn't exist in here. So just to keep that in mind, once you're logged in, you should be able to do your compliance. There'll be a button to do compliance for the master. You still have to do the compliance even if it's not doing tax returns, and you're probably going to need to upload your ID as well. So just keep that in mind. Again, if you're brand new to Refund Advantage as a service bureau with the dummy master that we provided you, then you need to make a user account for that dummy master. I hope that makes sense for Refund Advantage. Pretty straightforward. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through TPG. Now TPG is pretty much the same thing. You're just going to go through same exact process. If you did one bank app, a lot of this information is already going to carry over to your TPG bank app. So you'll just have to be filling out basic info. Maybe you don't want Spanish materials. Again, this is not doing tax returns, so it really doesn't matter. Same thing for the fees. EFIN owner info should carry over from the other bank app if you already did your Refund Advantage bank app, or vice versa. Now, one thing to keep in mind with TPG is if you use the same email address that you use for your tax office with TPG, then you're just going to have the one login you have with that email. You don't need to have multiple logins with TPG. I believe they tie everything to the email address. So if you use the same email address across the board, then you just have that one login with TPG. But pretty straightforward. EFIN owner information, principal owner. You could also check these off if you're giving consent for them to do that. Office staff. Again, you could just copy over your information. And you can lock and submit. There is one thing I do want to point out with TPG. When you're doing your service bureau enrollment, also for this check administration, if again, it's not doing tax returns, you don't need to have it, right? These are things that as an ERO, you may want to look at, but I don't really recommend it as an ERO either because they charge you extra money for it. But just to keep that in mind. So once you're done with it, just lock and submit, and then at some point you'll get an email from TPG. But if you already had an account with TPG before and you use the same email address, you can just log in and you'll see your service bureau master. You'll see any other EFINs you have enrolled under you as well. That's pretty straightforward. Enrollment is now open in the fall. So if you're watching this and it's summertime, then wait until the fall. Typically end of September, October is when you're going to start enrolling yourself for the upcoming season.